Habari Gani, my Induga na Data. This is Elder Abu Amin Ra. My brothers and sisters, let me share some information with you from the Christian Bible that black Christians overlook and seems not to understand the Bible and Christianity in its entirety. It appears that most black people know and surround their life with is slaves, be obedient to your masters. Turn the other cheek. Love your brothers. Give everything you have to your brothers for their sake. But my brothers and sisters, they fail to grasp the meaning of the 3rd chapter of Ecclesiastes, the 1st through the 8th verse. I would like to share them with you at this moment so that perhaps it might shine some light into your life, into your efforts, into your role, into what you are supposed to do. My brothers and sisters, let me share this with you, beginning with verse 1 in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. And I quote, "To everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under the heavens." Everything, no exceptions, has a time and a season to be. 2nd verse, "A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted." Verse 3, "A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up." 4th verse, "A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance." Verse 5, "A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away." Verse 7, "A time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak." Verse 8, "A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace." My brothers and sisters, there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time to turn the other cheek, especially if not turning it is going to be detrimental to you because you must survive. But my brothers and sisters, there's also a time to hate and a time to love, a time for war and a time for peace. It's time for the war. We are hip to now by what they are trying to do to us, decimate us, turning the other cheek, love your enemy as you love yourself. My brothers and sisters, there's a time and a season for everything. It's now time, my brothers and sisters, for war. It's time for us to liberate ourselves. It's time for us to tear down, and then the time to rebuild will arise. Do you understand me? A time and a season for everything. Astrologically speaking, in the context of the sun, the moon, and the stars, and how they align themselves, there's a time and a season for everything, my brothers and my sisters. It's time for us to tear down the old, that which operates against us. And it's now time after that to build. We must build, my brothers and sisters, if we want to survive. We must live in everything, be within the context of its time and its season. Don't you think the season of liberation is here? By those of our ancestors who were brought here, starting 1619 to serve as chattel slaves. Don't you think it's time for them? They're still alive. They are in us, in our DNA, in our spirit, in our soul, in our physical being. So it's time. It's time, my brothers and sisters. Let's not let fear run us down and control us. There's a time for fear, and then there's a time for bravery. It's time for bravery now. It's time to stand up and say, no more. It's time now. It's time. Our enemies are leaving the planet. Asians are trying to rush in and take our place. But this is the Aquarian age. This is our time to rise back in power again and to rule the earth in righteousness. For we are the righteous ones. We operate on time. We do what is right at all times. So my brothers and sisters, let's do what it's time for us to do now. Liberation for all African people, those in the motherland and those throughout the so-called diaspora. Let us all remember and understand there's a time and a season for everything. Our time as being the oppressed is over. It's now time to rise up and liberate ourselves from oppression. It's time, my brothers and sisters. You may as well get ready because the time is here. Once again, peace and hotep to you. My Ndugu na Dada.